can either work in a closed gate pose, meaning your hips are closed to the front of the mat, or you can work in an open gate pose, meaning your hips are open to the wide edge of the mat and your feet are further away from each other generally. In most classes, especially flow classes, we're kind of stepping through to things, and then we position our feet and get into something. And once you put your feet in place, you're stuck, and your pelvis just has to fit the mold that your legs and feet have created for you. Whereas if you step back into a pose, your foot's going to naturally choose where it wants to go. So I want you to just try that. Compare the two. Push through your right foot and just step the left foot back to like a warrior two. And then maybe kind of go into a three-legged dog and try stepping, pushing your foot down and lifting up, and just feel the difference between the two. And then do the same thing with like a lunge or a warrior one or something where your hips are forward. So how does it feel stepping back, and how does it feel stepping forward and lifting?
When you step forward and lift, I feel like I have to make more adjustments.
Yeah, definitely, because your foundation is being forced.
It's like you're already at your edge, and if you stretch back, you're kind of like giving yourself a little bit of that.
Let's everyone go to a down dog. And then step your right foot through, plant your left heel down for warrior two, and lift yourself up. Let's talk about where you stuck at and what do you feel. What's the pelvis doing, for instance?
It's not quite open to the long edge. I feel like I'm on an angle.
Yeah, it's at an angle. So if you're at an angle and then maybe you're trying to push your pelvis straight, what happens to your knees? Okay, and then what if you try fixing your knees? Even do it from the floor up. Push through your feet, fix your knees first, then try to do the pelvis. Is it possible for everyone? Some people will maybe be able to do it because they happen to have the right skeletal alignment. Their femur bones and acetabulum happen to form the ideal way for their body to get here. The majority of people are going to have not even the head of the femur bone, but the neck of the femur bone underneath the acetabulum, and then the acetabulum being the hip socket. So it's kind of resting like this. And then you try to fix them straight, and it's not going to work because their bones are stuck. They're actually jammed. So what I want you to do, let's turn all 10 toes to face the wide edge of the mat. And take your hands to your pelvis. Now keep your pelvis here. Turn your right toes forward without adjusting the pelvis. Okay, so go back for a second. I saw a few people move their pelvis. Keep your pelvis here. Just move from the leg and the foot. Now push your left heel back. Now bend into your knee. Oh, that's better. You're further away from the ground, right? That's good. Let's do the same thing on the other side. So step through from a down dog. Go back to your down dog. Step the left foot through. Try to plant your heel and lift up. Now let's pretend we're in a class where we don't have a lot of time. Adjust your feet, adjust the pelvis, then readjust the feet and bend your knee. How do you guys feel there?
Collapsed.
Collapsed?
Not as much space as like, you're stepping back.
Oh, okay, yeah. I agree with that for sure.
It kind of like you have that lockness, and there's just not enough space along pelvis and spine.
Yeah. Oh, I totally agree. I mean, if I had it my way, I would always have people step back. But if this is going to be a quick fix, this is going to be a better thing. You might even be able to readjust the spacing of your feet and then turn your feet while keeping the pelvis and go back into it. That way you're not jamming the bones together. And hopefully you don't feel that collapse feeling quite so much. I sometimes even just like pick up my feet, set them back down, and then turn them. Which I know, like in some classes, that's way too much to do in the like half of a freaking second you're there in the pose. But do your best to readjust so that way you're not collapsing and jamming things together. So what we can do is we can work from pelvis to feet, back up to pelvis. So maybe let's step back into a warrior two again, whatever side. Let's do right side in front actually, that way we're both on the same side. Step the left foot back to warrior two. Feel the hips opening and broadening. Extend your front leg, push the hips back and try heading to a Trikonasana. And lift yourself up, rebend the knee and head into an extended angle. Good. Go ahead and lift up, step to the front, and switch sides. Open to your warrior two, extend and open to trick. And practice Utthita. And just notice how you feel as you transition through these poses with this new foundation. So in one, you're letting your pelvis decide what kind of range of motion the rest of the body has. And the other, you're grounding, putting yourself in a foundation and then trying to fit your body to fit the mold of whatever someone else decided was right. And most of the time what we're looking at is Tavi Joyce's Ashtanga series, and that's made for little Indian boys. So if you're not a little Indian boy, chances are your body's not going to go into those same shapes very easily. You might be able to, but most of us are not going to. How do you guys feel with that? Cool.
I think it's awesome because, like me, like I've learned and realized I'm very internally rotated, so I can't even take my foot comfortably like parallel like they usually will cue. So the stepping back is so much better because I can go ahead and just step with that angle because that's what my body naturally wants to do.
Exactly.
Naturally externally rotate that much. So
everyone's foot position is going to be dependent on how their lower leg bones and their upper leg bone fits together at the knee. Some people are going to have a little bit of rotation somewhere else. Some people are going to be really straight. Some people are going to be a little twisted. Just depends. Not very much, but a little bit. So let's apply the same rule to like a warrior one, for instance. Push to the right foot. Keep your hips facing the front of the mat and step your left foot back only as far as you can without turning the pelvis. You can even lengthen your front leg if you want to. And I want you to not even think about what you think warrior one is supposed to feel like. So I'm going to do the same thing again because I saw a lot of you rechange your feet to where you think they should go. Keep your right foot where it is. Don't even think about the left foot. Step it as far back as you can while keeping the pelvis forward. Then lengthen the front leg. Take a look at your back foot. Now, most people are going to have a little bit of an angle. So the front toes are going to be kind of closer to 12. The back foot's going to be closer to 10. Some people might have a little bit more hypermobility and they'll turn their toes straight forward. The only people I would suggest maybe making a correction to the back foot are people that are turning straight forward. I would give you a little bit of space. One being, if we're looking at the Psoas, that external rotation at the back leg, beginning at the foot, is going to give you more space when you move forward. Whereas if your foot was turned forward, then your femur bones are parallel to one another. You're going to get a lot more strain and compression. So the back foot being turned out a little bit is going to help you with the Psoas. So now let's try to lift the heart up and bend through the front leg. You're going to be able to feel the whole psoas of the left leg pulling in opposing directions. Let's go ahead and step forward and do the same thing on the other side. Push to your left foot. Step back only as far as you can without readjusting the pelvis. Maybe straighten your leg for a moment. Kind of focus on that back leg and the turn. Maybe check out the toes. And then bend the knee and lift the heart. Okay, now go to down dog and try stepping forward through both sides. And do whatever you usually would do to get into it. Can you remember now? Let's just kind of talk about, whenever you're done, let's kind of talk about the difference between. How'd your feet feel? For instance, stepping forward versus stepping back.
Far apart. Yeah.
Yeah. Further apart.
You have to force the front when you're stepping forward.
Yeah, you have to kind of force it a little bit. Also, the back foot kind of roll up a little bit more, unless you've overstretched all your tendons and ligaments enough that you can keep your foot flat maybe. Or again, maybe you have a very, very specific anatomy in which that is available to you, but the majority of people are not going to be able to keep that back foot down and really be able to push through the whole patabanda of the foot if they're being forced to step forward, set it, and lift.